This week in Jamaica Now, JPS considering whether to challenge the OUR's rejection of a rate increase. Energy Minister demands that gas station operators cut their prices at the pumps. What the Jamaica Defence Force is spending more than its budget, it's also getting new uniforms for soldiers. And Arlene Harrison Henry appointed Jamaica's first female public defender. The details of these and other stories coming up after the break.
There's a story behind my skin. My only makeup? True Match.
Only True Match has L'Oreal's technology to match your skin's unique tone and undertone. 100% guaranteed.
My skin, my story, my True Match.
From L'Oreal.
I'm Arlene Brown and this is Jamaica Now. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, is to decide whether to appeal against an order by the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, to reduce light bills. The JPS had applied for a 21% increase, but instead the OUR has determined that the rates should be cut by 1.9%. The ruling has upset some members of the private sector organization of Jamaica. The PSOJ is questioning whether the OUR's ruling will impact the viability of the light and power company. President and Chief Executive Officer of the JPS, Kelly Tomlin, says a team was tasked to conduct an analysis of the OUR's rate determination, which the company will use to determine the way forward.
My CFO is working on the final analysis. After that, I'll work through the weekend, meet with my team next week, and I've promised something to our board along just explanation lines, and then we'll decide in the next week what our next step should be.
The JPS has 30 days within which to file an appeal. The Energy Ministry has blasted gas station operators who continue to keep pump prices high. According to the ministry, motorists using E1087 gasoline should be paying less than $100 a litre, given the reductions announced by the state-owned oil refinery Petrojam. However, the cost of petrol at the pumps remains above the $100 mark. The Jamaica Defence Force, JDF, has indicated that some of the millions of dollars it owes may have been incurred to fund urgent operational requirements which did not make allowances for waiting on money to be approved. The JDF gave the explanation in response to concerns raised by Auditor General Pamela Monroe Ellis, who found that up to June 30 last year, the Army owed more than $630 million to suppliers. The Auditor General says of the $634.5 million owed, $507 million was outstanding for over 90 days. Meanwhile, the JDF is changing the uniform of its members. It's costing $120 million to make the change over to the digital camouflage.
We always try to improve on what we've done, and that ethos has carried over to our uniforms. We wanted to ensure that when we finally outfit our soldiers, we're able to put them in uniforms that is not only effective at camouflaging, but also durable and can withstand the hardships that their normal routines will subject them to.
The agency responsible for overseeing the nation's children's homes says it has moved to extensively restructure its monitoring operations of state-run and privately operated facilities. That declaration from the Child Development Agency follows an Auditor General's probe, which found that the agency did not routinely review educational materials in children's homes. The Auditor General's report also found that some child care facilities have been operating for up to 2 years without licenses. The CDA says it has since appointed boards of visitors to monitor and oversee residential child care facilities and strengthen the licensing regime. The pastor of the Calvary Baptist Church in Montego Bay, Rev Everton Jackson, last week called for the country's leaders to unite to tackle some of Jamaica's toughest problems. According to Jackson, Jamaicans should be ashamed of the country's record of corruption and crime. And he says the country's leadership has been found wanting at all levels.
Do you not feel ashamed, knowing that Jamaica is known as one of the most corrupt countries in the world? Do you not feel ashamed, knowing that Jamaica is considered as having one of the highest murder rates in the world? Do you not feel ashamed when you travel and are sometimes treated by immigration officers with suspicion as if you were a criminal when they see the Jamaican passport? Do you not feel ashamed, knowing that Jamaica is featured so prominently in lotto scamming and the drug use? Well, I do.
The Women Business Owners Limited says the recent International Labour Organization report on women in management should be used to open more opportunities for females to be put in positions of decision-making and policy-making. The study found that Jamaica has the highest proportion of women managers globally. The association says while this is welcomed news, there are weak areas that Jamaica needs to address. It notes that Jamaican women rank low on the scale of female chief executive officers, top managers, and heads of government and private sector boards. Well-known attorney at law and human rights activist Arlene Harrison Henry has been appointed the first female public defender. The Governor-General, Sir Patrick Allen, says her educational qualifications, record of performance as a lawyer and human rights advocate, and sense of civic responsibility make her eminently prepared for effective service. And Jamaica's first public defender, Howard Hamilton, has hailed the appointment, saying he expects Mrs. Harrison Henry to excel in the post. His sentiments were echoed by President of the Jamaica Bar Association, Donovan Walker. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Arlene Brown, and as we go, we leave you with Miss Universe Jamaica's Casey Fennell ahead of next Sunday's grand coronation of Miss Universe.